history guy of this channel. And the one thing about history, folks, is those that forget the past are deemed and condemned to repeat it in the future. I don't know if this is Back to the Future and we're looking for Marty McFly. I don't know what other cliches you could possibly do. But Kamala Harris seems to want to take the United States back to the Jimmy Carter era, back to a time when, let's think about it, the government wanted to control everything. Welcome back to the Rant Network, everybody. David Solomon here with Stuart Brisgell. We are the Rant Network. This is a podcast which is unedited, unfiltered, and uncensored, dedicated to going through a wide range of topics. But unfortunately, for the next 80-odd days, this election is going to be probably front and center on a lot of our conversations because it has massive impact on a global scale, ladies and gentlemen. This is the absurdity of modern life that we get into when we talk about, the news, pop culture, politics, and so much more. Because this is not only going to affect American society, but the world at large. So sit back as we dive into yet another one of those rants. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you're paying attention, but one thing, if you can cut through yesterday, Donald Trump had another press conference just to poke at his opponent, who's been hiding from the media. It's a tactic. Who has not really released any new economic policies. There's Joe Biden now when it's convenient for photo ops and everything, but is trying to distance herself, her and good old Tampon Tim. They want to get away from the Bidenomics that she's been saying for 3 years is working. Now she says her most important priority, Stuart, on day one will be to control inflation and prices. And one of her ideas, tell me if this doesn't sound familiar, is to go after the food companies because they're gouging too much and we're going to control food prices. Stuart, I don't know, are you in the United States or the United Soviet Socialistic Republics?
I think that's a great intro, David. But let's take this one step further. It's not Back to the Future. It's Groundhog Day, and it's circa 1970, and it's circa 1980, former Soviet Union. It could be Venezuela. It could be Cuba. It could be China. I'm getting confused. Vice President Kamala Harris is set to unveil her complete economic focus, or at least what she may call compete, which will cover housing, taxation, and price gouging. Let's start with housing. She believes she wants to emphasize affordable housing, which is critical to her strategy. Now, I don't know about you. The government's going to build houses now. Kind of sounds like the Soviet Union.
Oh, wait. They want to build housing?
Yeah, she wants to control housing and boost affordable housing. And the only way that happens is with government intervention. And if there's one thing that we've said for 3.5 years, David, that when the government says we're here to help you, you're dead. Okay?
Yeah.
And if the government's coming to aid for you, you're dead. And you know what? It's not the white community, black community, green community. It's the entire world. When any country says we're here to help, you got to run the other way. So it is to appeal to voters amid the rising costs of living. Now, I don't know about you. The cost of living in the last 4 years is all attributed to who? Harris and Biden. Now, let's now say, well, wait a minute. It was Biden's presidency. Well, we all know that guy wasn't president and that the country has been run by what? By political elites, the insiders. So if Biden wasn't clearly capable of running the country because that's why he was kicked to the curb by Kamalanomics is going to be just as bad because it's been her Kamalanomics the whole time. But now she says, maybe all those sides won't get me elected. Now, the tax proposal is she wants a tax cut for most Americans while advocating against price gouging by grocers to help struggling families. We're going to open our food bank. We're going to buy more government food. In 1970, they tried that in the United States. It failed miserably. And if you don't have a free economy, it doesn't work. Someone's going to pay as much as they need to get what they need. And if there's not enough demand, price is going to go down. if there's too much demand, the price is going to go up. It's that simple. That's economics 101. Now, we know Kamala Harris probably didn't take economics. We know that she had a hard time passing the bar. We know that she is a failed politician with zero work experience. But no, she was a DA. No, she was a civil servant who let criminals on the street, wanted to defund the police, wanted to what? Do everything that is against every moral fabric in the United States. On day one, she's going to close all the detention centers that have to deal with immigrants because she's going to let them all free, dumbasses. Like, I've never heard the stupidity of the news. I've never heard of the stupidity of people saying she's going to end immigration crisis. The whole thing, it all ties to economics, David. Whether you're dealing with immigration, it's economics. Because how are we going to pay for all these people?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I love it.
So aren't we just going to print more money?
You know what?
It's adjusted inflation. That's the way we got here in Canada. Stuart, you know, the funny thing, what you just said, and I'm going to tell you something. Kamala Harris is taking a page out of Justin Trudeau's book. He called in all the grocers, not the food manufacturers, the grocery store chains, and said, You're price gouging. You're making too much money. I mean, this is after sure some of these grocers, announced their quarterlies, and yes, they made profit. But did you know when you drill down and you look at the profit of what they're making, Stuart? Take it for example, one of the food companies. They're into food distribution, right? And they're into real estate, and then into other things. So when you sit there and you're going, wait a second. So where is the money coming from? It's not from what you and I buy at the grocery store. They do a lot of volume. Like, don't get me wrong. They open up a lot of grocery stores. But Kamala Harris wants to do that, exactly what Justin is doing here. We are going to tell you the business, how to run your business, what money you can make. Because we let inflation run out of control. But Stuart, what Justin said to us, the retailers, the grocers are making unfair profits.
Listen, when this goes down to divide and conquer and create a Soviet United States of America. And by having President Biden being an invertebrate, and for the most part, I'm going to say not part of the Washington elite any longer, and believe that he was going to be a puppet to the end as a nice grandpa thank you kind of guy. But the country is being run by people who they don't want you to know their names. This is more of I gotta say this, a Twilight Zone, Rod Sterling type government, because we know that Biden's not. Who's running the country?
Well, it's not about running but Stu, it's not about running the country anymore. This is about the election that's coming up. This is about in January of 2025. They'll have a new leader, because no matter what, it's a new leader. It's not going to be Biden. It could be, it has to be either Trump or Harris. And Stuart, if you look at what's going on right now and you look at the differences in policies, Kamala's trying to paint, and we talked about this in our last rant, trying to paint as Trump only favoring, the rich, which is exactly Kamala's play. This is exactly what the left likes to play, that anybody who helps business owners is gouging. And the reality is that while we could say the trickle-down economics that Reagan put in wasn't a success, there is some sense in that if you lower costs to businesses, there is more money to put into other people's pockets. But instead, look what's going on today. In 3.5 years, credit card debt in America
skyrocketed.
Skyrocketed. Why? Yep. Why are people making the choices between food and gas?
Because they're getting into debt, putting food and bread and butter on the table.
Right.
And under whose presidency and who's in the office? But these are people that could have made a change. They had control for years. They did nothing. Kamala Harris was a deciding vote to tie break Bidenomics, which had nothing to do with economics. The Inflation Act, nothing to do with inflation. It did the opposite. The government doesn't know economics.
But Stuart, but you know what? That's the thing, is that you put in place people who are not, like Joe Biden didn't work in the business world. Kamala Harris didn't really work in the business world. You look at all these people who are making these decisions and are doing it for window dressing. It's political, okay? Because when you strip back all of this kind of stuff, you see that it's just, you're just moving the dollars from this table to that table. You're not really coming up with a policy. Let me ask you one question, okay? You want to talk about helping the economy. Did you hear Kamala Harris talk about any infrastructure bill? She says, "Oh, that was Joe's." But did you hear of anything that will make roads better, the trains better, the infrastructure better? Because you know what happens in that case, Stuart? There's a domino effect. When you hire more construction workers to build more, to fix more, look at the domino effect. That's been proven. But Kamala Harris would rather, for window dressing, claim they're gouging, claim the pharmaceuticals make too much money, the food companies make too much money. Everything should be controlled by the government. The government should not be in the business of business. Sorry. And the more she talks about that, the more she scares me.
Well, listen, you had Roosevelt, who basically pioneered, the road out of depression.
Yeah, the Great Deal. Yes.
Right. So there is some truth to that concept. It wasn't flawless, right?
Whoa.
And actually, what is still quite controversial. But yes, what she is proposing is more tax cuts for majority of Americans. Now, I don't know about you. She signed up 86 million new. Or 86,000 new agents for the IRS.
Oh, but that's it. But Stuart, that's the thing.
She wants one more. Focusing on initiatives that aid small business, especially those owned by women, minorities, to promote equitable.
Yeah. But I want to just.
What does the word equitable mean?
No, Stuart. But excuse me, Stuart. I'm going to stop you right there. Because that's a song and dance that we've been hearing for decades. That, minority ownership, women ownership, you name it, that's been pushed. With all due respect to Kamala Harris, that program is dumb. Why am I saying it's dumb? Because it's already in place. Don't give me some cock and bull that suddenly you're sitting here going, oh, we're going to help those who disenfranchised. Guys, if you look at public tenders today insist on at least one of those criteria. You lose points if you are a white male-owned institution. So stop trying to pretend that there's nothing out in the workforce out there. This is what I'm talking about. Window dressing. You talked about the lipstick on the pig. This is the proverbial lipstick on the pig. There's nothing of substance here.
Right. So her economic stimulus concept is by putting more money in the hands of lower income individuals aimed to stimulate local economies. Now, hang on a second. Now she's giving away money.
What money? What money do you have right now? You have what's your debt? What's your debt like right now? But Stu, here's the thing which I find fascinating with her, okay? She is spending. Now, here's the difference between liberal-minded and conservative-minded. Liberal-minded doesn't care about budgets. It's like giving your teenager a credit card and say goodbye, see you, have a great day. That's what Kamala Harris is going to try to promote. And then on this side, you have the Republicans, the conservatives, who are sitting here. We need a budget. We need controls.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how are we going to pay that?
I'm going to drop this on you since I'm the economic guy in this conversation. By adding money to lower income is going to increase disposable income, right? Whether it's done through tax credit or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what it's going to do? It's going to contribute to inflation because the demand is going to outpace supply. And it's going to erode the benefit of this whole process. Is this a hamster in a wheel? This woman is bananas.
Guys, folks, I want to tell you why that is a cock and bull policy. Look in the Great White North, guys. Look up above you guys. Look at the country above you. That was Justin's policy since COVID. Pay for votes. Pay to lower income people, pay with money you don't have. and now inflation is skyrocketed. Homes are unaffordable. People can't afford gas. Listen, folks, you're complaining about a $3.50 gallon gas. We're at $7, $8 in some cases. Please just do us a favor. If you follow this policy of government intervention and government will pay for and government will give you more money and government will send you checks, that's a vote buy. That's buying votes. It's not fixing the problem. That's what's happened here in Canada, and you're seeing a political shift, Stuart. Okay? I think that people need to stop looking inside the United States and look at other countries, what they're doing to get out of, difficult times. Getting out of difficult times takes difficult measures. If you want soft measures, things that make nice and sound nice, you won't get out of this political maelstrom. The United States, throughout the entire 1970s, practically was in an economic downturn because every policy that they tried to come out with just meant print more money, give out more money, stuff you don't have. If you look at Argentina, Stuart, he took a massive step back. Now, that's a different country with triple-digit inflation. He took a step back with that country, and now they're able to get on their feet. The United States needs to wake up and stop pretending that they're okay and that just Kamala is spreading the money that you don't have. Because with the multi-trillion-dollar debt you have, you're going to be sunk. Last word, Stuart.
God help us all.
All right, folks, that's it. He's done. I guess that's all he's got to say. Thank you for listening to another week full of rants. We've had 3, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll be back next Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I will be on the road next week, but Stuart and I will be able to rant either way. Folks, rantnetwork.com. Check out the website. It's at the bottom of your screen. Go to our YouTube page. Go to our website. Guys, it's full of great episodes. Share, love us. We really appreciate it. We're growing, folks. We're growing in listenership and viewership. We appreciate it. Thanks to you. So until next time, have yourself a wonderful weekend. And Stuart,